What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today I want to do a quick first impression videos of a knife I just got. This is the Bradley Marais Vector. So Bradley Marais is a South African knife maker. He actually was an apprentice of Jason Guthrie. Jason Guthrie is quite a popular custom knife maker who does some really cool ultralight models, and you definitely see some of the influence in this Vector. Let's get some of the specs out of the way. It's in M390. It's made in South Africa. The size of it, let me do some size comparisons. There's a PM2 next to the Vector and the PM3. So it's definitely very close to the size of the PM3. It's a good, medium-sized EDC knife. We'll do some actual measurements too. It is a just about 3¼ inch blade and just a 3⅛ for the cutting edge. It's kind of hard because there's two cutting edges because of the Tonto, obviously. Other things, it has a full carbon show scale. It's kind of a green carbon fiber, looks excellent. Full titanium lock side, obviously a titanium pocket clip that is excellent, if I do say so myself. That sounded like I made it. I did not make this knife, obviously. But this is a pretty simple pocket clip, but it really is probably one of the best pocket clips I've felt in a really long time, if not ever. Perfect slope, perfect tension, and the way it's set up with just the spacers makes it almost a deep carry clip without looking like a deep carry clip, which deep carry clips are nice, but they are ugly in my opinion. The other remarkable thing is this is like, a pretty good sized knife. 3¼ inch is not a small knife. It's not a big knife either. I'd say it's a very EDC size knife, and it actually weighs just over 3 ounces. Don't mind my slightly dirty food scale. I use this for coffee and food and such. So it weighs just over 3 ounces. Yeah, 3.2 ounces, which for the size of the knife, it is pretty excellent. Okay, let's talk about some details about this knife that actually make it special in my mind. So, first of all, the design, right? The design is super simple. There's no big flashy branding things. There's not like a logo on the blade. I hate when there, it's just paragraphs on the blade. The people who are most guilty of this are companies like Microtech. They put a paragraph on the blade. It's like you get your user terms and agreements on the blade of the knife. This has a completely blank blade, which I love. The only branding on this knife is on the pocket clip, and it's really subtle. It's not even painted on or whatever. It's milled into the pocket clip. It looks great. The other thing I really like about this, and it's pretty unique, is that this knife has a lock bar insert, but it's not your normal steel lock bar insert. It's really hard to tell, but there is actually a tungsten pin in this lock bar, which, if you didn't know, steel on titanium wears away quickly because steel is much harder than titanium, but tungsten on titanium is a much better mated surface, so you get more durability out of the lock bar, and it is excellent. The ergos on this knife are really nice. There is some jimping on the blade. I don't think it's functional. You can feel it, but it's definitely just for looks. And speaking of looks, I love the way this looks. The Tonto is just flat ground, beautiful flat grind on this Tonto. And it's more of a Japanese Tonto in the sense of the front edge has a belly on it. Another detail is the stop pin is visible. That's what this is right here. I just like that detail. It looks good. It's functional. It's a thick stop pin. It's the same thickness all the way through, so you don't get any weak spots on it. Another nice detail on this knife is the thumb stud is not in the way of the cutting path. So the thumb stud is out of the way of the cutting path. It's on this back, whatever this is called, I don't remember right now. So really a good slicing knife for sure. The harpoon adds a little detail to the Tonto that kind of just adds to the aesthetic of the knife that I really enjoy. Has a little bit of chamfering there. Looks really lovely. The one bad thing I would say about this knife so far, obviously, this is not a review, I've had it for a day. I picked it up yesterday from a local knife buddy, is the hardware. So the hardware is all the same hardware, which is great. I love having the same screws across the board. But these are T6s. There's good quality T6 for sure. The tool fits securely in there and they're nice and deep, so they're not just going to strip right away. But, having T6 on the pivot makes me a little bit uncomfortable. I would like some bigger pivot hardware. And actually, in his more recent models, I know that Marais is doing a T10 or a T15 pivot hardware as opposed to the T6. So even though it doesn't match, it's just a little bit more heavy duty. And I think that's a common complaint that other people had with the Vector. So that's the one thing that I don't like about this knife so far. And the one like bad first impression thing that I have noticed. But other than that, this is actually like hits a lot of my EDC points. I really like this. It's super light, which I don't mind carrying heavy knives. I just did that Colwell video, and I like carrying that knife, and that's a really heavy knife. I haven't weighed it, but I would guess over 7 ounces. But, I do like having a light knife. My carbon fiber Koenig Arius is one of my favorite carry knives for that reason. And this is even lighter than that, and you get a full blade out of it. I also love Tontos. I just come back to them all the time. Some people think they're terrible for EDC. I like them for EDC, for like draw cuts, cutting open boxes, etc. And this knife kind of hits a lot of those points. And it's a washer knife. I love washer knives. This knife has excellent washer action, perfectly shake shut. And no blade play whatsoever. It is prone, as you could just see there, it is prone to some lock bar pressure. I'm not great at thumb flicking because I spidey flick most of my knives. So that is one thing I'll get used to, but I can get used to that. I would rather have one good deployment method than 2 bad or 2 mediocre ones or 3 bad ones or whatever. I like having just the one. It feels like the maker's just sticking to their guns there. The lock bar access also is really excellent on this knife. Disengaging it is great. The lock bar tension is good. I was worried with how thin this cutout is, which looks great, by the way. I like the way it runs up there, that it would be feel really light, but it does not. It feels the appropriate amount of heavy that I want, that feels like I'm not gonna break the lock bar, or that the lock bar is not just gonna disengage it on me. So yeah, anyways, I just want to do some first thoughts on this knife. I really like it. I'm going to carry it for the next couple weeks as I'm away for Christmas with my in-laws, and I'll have kind of more of a full review after that. I'm also bringing the Colwell for that trip because I want to do a full review on that. I just did a first impressions, and I love that knife. These are kind of opposites. The Colwell is this overbuilt, batoning, crazy knife. This is kind of a gentleman's carbon fiber folder, which is great for EDC. But that's kind of the fun of being a collector. You can collect different things, and I like different things, and having different knives for different purposes, even though they all end up getting used to open more knives usually. So anyways, those are my first impressions. This is a really cool little knife. I'm excited to have it. I haven't seen many others of these, and it's cool to have kind of my first, this is my first South African made knife. I know Chris Reeve is technically South African, but I think he's an American citizen now. And so it's cool to kind of see what they're doing there. They're making some really excellent knives, and kind of thinking outside the box. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and thanks for watching.